Welcome to round number 8 for the face-to-face 1K that happened these couple weeks ago. So in this round 8 match, we have Conrad playing Orzhov Scam, and his opponent is Jessie playing Grixis Delver. Jessie has been featured many a times on this channel, probably one of the better Delver players we've witnessed in our local metagame here. So we're going to see how Conrad is going to fare against her. We are starting the game now here. I'm not sure who the higher seed is, but that is how first player is going to be determined now that we are in the top 8. Looks like Jessie is going to take a mulligan down to 6 cards. I assume that Jessie will be on the play since she has shown that she's mulliganing. Actually, it's hard to tell. I'm not sure if Conrad has kept his hand, but we will see. So, Jessie on Grixis Delver this time around. She's previously used Teamer Delver, so she's constantly flipping back and forth, I guess, trying to work out what the best version it is for her, but sees a lot of success with both versions. So Jessie is the higher seed, going to be taking the play here. She cracks a Polluted Delta, finds an Underground Sea, gonna start off with a Stalactite Stalker. A new addition to these blue-black tempo style decks. Going to very aggressively bend a swamp there. Going to try to fire off a Dark Ritual from Conrad. Going to get Dazed, returning the Underground Sea to the hand. Conrad most likely doesn't have any other follow-ups here. Oh, he's past the turn already. Sorry. So Jessie swung in for 2 with the Stalactite Stalker. Gonna play a Polluted Delta and crack it. Finds a Volcanic Island. That's gonna trigger the... I can't remember what the name of the mechanic is, but a permanent went into the graveyard. A Stalactite Stalker gets a counter. Conrad gonna play a Polluted Delta for his turn and find a basic swamp. Brings him down to 17. Top 2 mana for a Dothy Voidwalker. Pretty good against a Murktide style deck. Also pretty good to stop the Stalactite Stalker from growing a little bit more. Gonna play the Underground Sea that we know that Jessie had from the first turn. Going to drop Conrad down to 14 after attacking with the Stalactite Stalker. Alright, Conrad going to untap, draw for his turn. Cracks a Bloodstained Mire, goes down to 13. Finds another basic swamp. Don't know when the white is going to come into play here, but seems primarily black-based. Here comes good old-fashioned Liliana of the Veil. The queen waifu herself for Magic the Gathering. Is this going to resolve? It looks like it does resolve. Conrad going to -2 the Liliana, and Orcish Bowmaster is going to ping it in response to try to kill the Stalactite Stalker. But Jessie is just going to sacrifice the Orc army. Jessie is going to then take 3 damage from the Dothy Voidwalker and now go to her turn. She's going to draw a card for turn and go straight into the combat steps, swinging for 4 damage, 3 from the Stalactite Stalker and 1 from the Orcish Bowmaster. Going into the main phase 2, Jessie going to cast a Dragon's Rage Channeler, then casting a Mishra's Bubble, triggering the Surveil, and going to keep it on top. Mishra's Bubble is going to resolve. Anything going to be done with this last blue mana? There's a Wasteland, and pass the turn. Oh, no, during the end step, just going to crack the Mishra's Bubble. Going to look at Conrad's top of the deck. At the beginning of the upkeep, Jesse's going to draw off of the bauble. Conrad going to play another basic swamp. Going to swing in for 3. Brings Jesse down to 12. Just going to pass the turn. Jesse going to untap. Only has 2 types in the graveyard, Polluted Delta and Daze. In comes the team. For a whopping 5 damage, flash in Opposition Agents from Conrad. Looks like it is going to resolve. I could be wrong. Jesse gonna tap 2 mana. Down comes another Orcish Bowmaster. Going to ping the Opposition Agent. And gonna trade the Dragon's Rage Channeler into the Opposition Agent. Okay. Conrad goes down to 5, draws for his turn. Down comes a Bloodstained Mire. Tap 4 mana. Here's a Shieldred the Apocalypse. If you were to have a counterspell, I think this is the one to fire it off. Looks like there's a Brainstorm coming. Tapping the Volcanic Island. Yep, there's a Brainstorm in response to the Shieldred. Couldn't quite get a glimpse of what she drew. Alright, settles on the cards to put back. And finds the Force of Will, and that'll be it. Jesse takes game number 1 over Conrad, and we will be going to game number 2. So here we are with game number 2's opening hands. Conrad going to be on the play. Looks like he's going to keep. After he gives the okay to Jesse, Jesse going to mulligan again down to 6. I'm really curious as to what the white part of Conrad's deck is. I wonder what kind of strengths it has over like any other colors in terms of Scam. I've seen a lot of people kind of experimenting with like Rakdos version, because you can get access to like, I guess the like, black red version is very close to Reanimator, but you're much lower to the ground. Alright, so Conrad just going to start with a swamp and pass a turn. Jessie going to draw her card. Looks like it's a Volcanic Island. Going to play it for the turn and just pass back to Conrad. Conrad going to draw, and there's a Scrubland. You're going to see a Grief pitching a Grief. Is this going to resolve? That is the question. It does. Jesse revealing Force of Will, Double Daze, Orcish Bowmaster, Murktide Regent, and an Underground Sea. Jesse really leaning into the strength of the disruption part of this deck. Gonna see Conrad take the Orcish Bowmaster. That's like realistically the strongest early play. However, because he's on the play, Daze is quite easily navigatable if you have the mana to spare, at least. It's going to be hard to land this Shieldred, the Apocalypse, in his hand, though. That one might be a little bit difficult, but it looks like he also has a Thoughtseize in hand. Down comes an Underground Sea from Jesse. Going to tap, finds a Ponder off the top. There's an Orcish Bowmaster. Going to run it straight into a Daze. Jesse gonna look at the top 3 cards of her deck. So now we know for sure that there's Murktide Regent, Daze, Force of Will, and an Underground Sea, because it was returned to the hand with the Daze. Not sure what the card she drew off the top. There, she drew a Bauble. Gonna Bauble Conrad. Conrad gonna reveal it to her. Jesse gonna draw during Conrad's upkeep. Conrad finds a Thoughtseize off of the top for his turn. So this is going to help navigate around all of the counterspells in Jesse's hand. Just slowly pick apart the resources. Wow. Going to Force of Will this Thoughtseize. Actually, it might be smart because if Conrad can't answer a Murktide Regent, which I think he can, I think we did see a glimpse of his Sheoldred's Edict. But it's Force of Will? Pitching Force of Will. Interesting. So still has a Daze Up. So Sheoldred's Edict, Liliana of the Veil, and Sheoldred the Apocalypse in Conrad's hand. Down comes an Underground Sea after Jessie draws her card for the turn. Top decks a Scrubland for Conrad. Not going to do anything because we know that Jessie has a second Daze in the hand. Down comes an Orcish Bowmaster, presumably found off of the top from the last turn. Gonna ping Conrad down to 19, making it 19-19. Jessie going to swing in for 2. There's a Sheoldred's Edict from Conrad. Gonna make Jessie sack the Orcish Bowmaster. Conrad gonna take the 1 from the Orc Army token, going down to 18. Alright, so is Jessie going to try to land a Murktide Regent? The Sheoldred's Edict. I'm very curious as to why Conrad Sheoldred's Edict the Bowmaster. It's not like his deck draws a ton of cards, and he knows that Jessie has a Murktide Regent, which is now coming in like absolutely strong. It's coming in with 3 counters, so it's going to be a 6-6. Conrad going to draw for turn. Maybe he's going to try to rely on his deck to draw an answer, but it's not like he's drawing a ton of answers. Or not, it's not like he's drawing a ton of cards. Alright, so he's gonna find an Orcish Bowmasters off the top, gonna slam it onto the battlefield while Jessie doesn't have any mana up. The ping is gonna take care of the Orc army, but Jessie still has a 6-6 flying Murktide Regent. There's a Wasteland on the Scrubland that prevents Conrad from playing a Liliana of the Veil. Going to Thoughtseize once again. There's a Brazen Borrower and a Daze. Brings Conrad down to 10 after the Thoughtseize. Gonna take a Daze. Conrad swinging in for 2, brings Jessie down to 17. Jessie gonna untap and draw for the turn. Swing in for 6, brings Conrad down to 4. Can Conrad find an answer for this Murktide Regent? Looks like it's a Leyline of the Void, and it's not going to do it. That is Jessie taking it over Conrad. 2-0. Alright guys, that was round number 8. We will see you guys in the finals.